Welcome to the original International Teacher Podcast with hosts in 4 different time zones, Greg, Darian, Kent, JP, and Hannah, bringing you episodes from around the world about the best kept secret in education. You got it, international teaching. Welcome to the show.
We could make it a 2-hour one, like 1 hour today and an hour there, and it'll be the special anniversary 2-hour show.
We'll do a little blend into the next one. Trust me, you guys can be a part of it at the end of this show. Right? Okay. But we'll just treat this like our happy birthday, Kent.
Kent's got to do the intro because he hasn't been around, and then that way everybody will be like, "Oh, Kent's back."
She's still the boss, Kent. She's still the boss. Can you hear us?
But okay? I have good ideas.
Yeah. All right. Welcome to the thing that we do. This thing that we do. Glad you're here. That guy's Greg or something. I don't know who he is. That's JP Mint. And thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next week. It's been great.
Yeah.
Is that how's that?
That's a great intro, Kent. What have you been doing?
Intro, right?
What have you been doing, Kent? You forgot about ITP. You forgot about us, Kent. What have you been doing?
Listen, I'm dealing with domestic things here. When we get on the air, make sure to ask me about the frogs. Just ask me about the frogs. Just someone, after we've done this hi, welcome to the podcast thing, which I think we just did, someone asked me about the frogs.
What about the frogs?
What about the frogs?
You know, let me tell you about frogs. Okay. Listen, I know this is a podcast about schools and international things, but listen, this is the first time I've lived in the United States in a decade. And the frogs, did this happen up in Canada, JP Mint? They, like at 8 o'clock at night, they just start up and they're so loud. They're mating or something. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what Greg sounds like when he's mating, but these frogs, I mean, they go all night long.
But are you living near a swamp or a bog or?
What am I, Shrek? I mean, I am wearing green. I'll give you that. Don't care.
Welcome to the ITP. This is Shrek, our new podcast host.
Oh my God! No, but
what's with the frogs? Ted, if you don't put all those insects around your apartment on the ground, then they won't come and eat them every night and have fun.
I was worried. Listen, when I was in Saudi Arabia, we worried about like the jets overhead ruining the podcast. Here in Bellingham, Washington, it's the frogs. I mean, you could hear them. I mean, you could hear them. They've traumatized the cats. They're just.
Can we just be quiet and listen for the frogs? Listen for the.
Do you want to listen to the frogs? Yeah. You can.
I can't hear any.
I can hear them. They're constant. No, they're all night long.
But I could hear your kitty when you first signed on. I heard your kitty cat.
Yeah.
She's one of them. What?
She's wondering what I'm doing. I haven't done many podcasts since we got 2 of them, and we can't have nice things anymore. Someone asked me about the cat. Yeah, this is what we do. This is what you do.
You know, cats like frogs. Cats like frogs.
You know, they not these guys. Not
come
these
up and
guys.
Lick you. They're gonna taste like a frog.
Ooh.
Listen.
Are you getting scratched furniture and stuff now, or what's happening?
I mean, what do we get? Listen, anything that's standing gets knocked over. I mean, you cannot own nice things with cats. I mean, you put a glass of water out, it's done. You might as well. You know what I do now? I just pour it on the floor ahead of time to save the cats the trouble. I just take the water and dump it right out ahead of time.
Of cat. I did not know this. I'm a dog person. I did not know. I watched a whole video of cats just like knocking things off shelves, and they would just go like, "Duke," and then the person would go, "No," and then they would go look, and then look at the person and go,
Kent's cats don't worry about that. They don't even look at it. They just go by and knock it over and just keep going.
They just knock it over. You know what? And really, seriously, they figured out how to open the closet doors and they just pull everything out of the closet. I mean, listen, we've given these creatures, we've taken them into our home. They belong on some sort of plane chasing things. I don't know where these things live. But we bring them into our homes and they sit around going, well, there's nothing to really do. So I'll go here and just push everything off the shelf.
Oh, have they done the thing with the toilet paper yet?
Yeah, well, They're too busy dumping litter from the litter box onto the carpet and watching me vacuum because they get a kick out of that. Most cats are scared of the vacuum, not these guys. These guys can't wait for me to use it. All right, so you know what? I do have some international teacher things. In my domestic subbing, and which, by the way, if you're out there teaching internationally, don't stop. Don't stop.
Don't go home.
Don't stop. Don't go home. You're just gonna listen. I've been subbing, and a shout out to people who have subbed with me and the students here. At least one or two teachers I've talked to have said, well, without knowing anything about me, I said, I'm going to think of international teaching. And I said, well, I know a podcast, but no, don't waste your time. No, I said, I know a podcast. I know a podcast you can listen to. Yeah, I said, that JP Mint, she's pretty good. Why don't you sign up with her? All right, don't bother with the other guy.
Don't bother with the other guy, no.
Don't bother with the other guy and buy your meat from Bob's Maple Meats or whoever.
This show is not the same. We are not the same without you, Ken.
Anyway, I will say this, that based on my very limited experience, let's say an N of about 3, there is interest in international teaching out there, only as a function of the shape of domestic teaching right now in the United States. The school district I'm in here in Bellingham, bless them. And if the superintendent listens, because of course he does, not only are they not hiring new teachers, they're getting rid of the ones they already got. So I wouldn't exactly call this the golden age
I thought
for
there was
teaching.
A teacher shortage everywhere.
No, the teachers are short, but there's plenty of them.
But no, I thought they were all retiring, and the generations are getting older, and so they are retiring, and they need new teachers. No,
I think what they've done, at least in my very limited experience, is they've just gotten rid of. They've still found a way, even within a teacher shortage, to make do with less and get rid of them. We have far fewer specialists. When I left the States, we had 4 or 5 specialists that the students went to for 3 or 4 hours a week. Not as great as an international school. An international school, my first year teaching abroad, 5, we had 7.5 hours of specialists a week, right? That was awesome. Now they get half hour a day tops, PE, music, just kind of zigzag between the two.
Wow.
We used to have art. We used to have technology in the States. We used to have some science, all sorts of things. So I think one thing they've done.
No music.
Well, they do have music. All the schools do have music, but they only get it for a half hour a day instead of as a standard specialist time, at least in Washington State, at least the districts I've been in have been at least 45 minutes for a block. You go into music for a half hour. As soon as you've done your vocal warm-ups, it's time to go. So I think what they've done is they've cut back on specialists. Now, the high school also has found some very, bless them. They're very, very nice to me. And if the admin in my little village of Bellingham is listening, you guys are all working your hardest. I get that. But they've restructured the schedule to find a way to put more larger numbers of students into fewer classrooms. So that's how they deal with a teacher shortage and not hiring.
Yeah. Can you move out of the subs and into a classroom? Is that on the horizon this coming fall?
No, I talked to these lovely teachers. They're very nice. Someone's getting hired, sure, here and there, because they put out a newsletter every month where they talk about all the great people who are hired, which is more power to them. But I've met plenty of excellent teachers who are sitting around 0.2 FTE for the last 2 or 3 years and can't get an assignment, and they're perfectly fine teachers. So someone's getting hired out there, yes, because according to the newsletter, they put their names in there and they get hired. But most people are not. And the other thing that they do is, I'll be honest with you, it feels like about 10 to 15, 20% of the teachers in my little town are leave replacement teachers with no continuing contract. They get a contract for the year if they're lucky, meaning that whoever used to have that contract is on leave. Gosh forbid, we've never met those teachers. But for,
but
I can understand.
2 years max usually?
Oh, no, not. I think school districts, and they've always known this, and I think that they've just kind of been their little secret domestically, is that they love to put teachers on leave because it gives them a huge flexibility to give these temporary contracts and to revoke these temporary contracts, and it gives them huge power over sort of their workforce. And that's how they deal with the ups and downs in the business. And then I've never seen a district, and bless you, Bellingham. Don't get me wrong, because I'm sure the powers that be are tuning in, but they probably haven't given a real contract to a real full-time teacher in a classroom in gosh knows how long, unless it was extraordinary circumstances.
Yikes. So it doesn't look like anything's going to change next fall then for you.
Who knows what changes and what doesn't change. Enrollment has continued to decline for various reasons. I think it's the trust in the public schools. The more that public schools have been defunded, the more that our classrooms get packed in with students. And these teachers are the best teachers in the world, in my opinion, to do what they do in the United States. And no, I mean, the international teachers are special too. Don't get me wrong. But I want to say that domestic teachers they're not worse. And they have harder conditions that they're dealing with.
Are you able to get into a charter school situation?
And I don't really know. We don't have a lot of charter schools in Washington State. Washington State does have a large number of religious and private schools. I wouldn't call them charters. Well, I guess they are. They're classical charter schools, I guess. But we don't have, like in Michigan and some states, where 20, 30, 40% of the schools might be charter schools. We don't have that. We just have struggling public schools and religious private schools. But what I want to say is that I don't think the students have returned entirely from COVID. And judging by the trends of infectious disease in the United States right now, it could happen again, gosh knows. But I think that enrollment has continued to decline in most of our public schools, I believe.
Where are they going? I mean,
homeschool.
You know what? Probably a lot are going homeschool, and there are probably some areas where probably homeschooling. Listen, I mean, if you're being homeschooled and you don't like your teacher, you're in big trouble.
That's true. Speaking of teachers, JP, do you know that I actually have a connection to somebody else in Bellingham? And Kent says the other day, he goes, and I won't say his name on the air because of
Todd Denton.
There you go.
We don't talk about Denton.
I'm sitting here talking to Ken. He's like, yeah, I was in Todd's classroom the other day. I'm like, what? Todd used to teach with us over here. And now Kent just pulls it out of the air. He's like, yeah, I had to teach in Todd's room today. I was like, what a connection that is. How crazy.
So he got a full-time job at some point, but
no, he did not. He's a leave replacement, much like
4 years.
Like I said,
right?
A large number.
Gone?
Yeah, year after year, leave replacement. I'm like, on one hand, it does protect that teacher who is on leave and will, in theory, some year return. It protects her position, but at the expense of someone who probably could use a continuing contract.
Yeah. Because I always thought it was 1 to 2 year max. That's what I've always heard about.
It used to be
people taking leaves and then going overseas and then coming back and saying, is it possible to get another year leave? And the school saying no, because you're at your 2 year max.
I will tell you that in my experience, my first overseas assignment, I took a leave from my school district. And they said, okay, 1 year. So I said, okay, I'll take the year. Then they sent me a letter saying, well, your year is up. But you know what? Hey, congratulations, you got another year. I said, okay, I'll take it. Then the next year, I decided not to come back. They're like, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you another year leave. So in other words, they have a stated policy, but it doesn't escape them the flexibility because what they did in my place is they hired a leave replacement in my place with I
have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea, Ken.
What is your idea?
Let's see if we can run this by your district. I'll be your leave replacement. So I'll be the leave replacement, and that way you can find another job and still get credit. I mean, I could see these guys working another job. I'll be the leave replacement. How about that, Ken?
This is like Inception.
Well, then I'll end up subbing for you as your leave replacement.
Wow.
I will say this, that there is a lot of interest in international teaching. To bring it full circle, the very fine teachers that are here stateside, and I think this is important to remember because most of us as international teachers have done teaching at our home countries. And I think it's easy to forget that they're working very hard and they're very good teachers. And many of them could potentially be our coworkers in our international schools. There is a lot of interest in international teaching, but I think there's a lot of people not sure how to. And it's the same thing. The reason why the ITP got started is that people don't always know how to enter into that arena, where to go, what are the steps that I need to take. And
There's a book about that,
someone has written a book. Someone has written a book.
I can't remember the name of it, of course. Neither can you, ever.
If only I had an app to help me memorize names to go along with that book. Only there's, listen, I'm behind. Listen, I'm behind on the episodes. I haven't listened to the last, full disclosure, I haven't caught the last 2 or 3 episodes that have dropped. But my wife tells me that there's this
That's
app.
pretty good.
Yeah, my wife tells me there's this app out there that I really need to buy that's going to help me memorize names.
Kent, I don't think you've ever heard an episode, have you? Have you ever heard an episode? We've just made them for
I don't
years.
even know. Listen, I don't even know what we're called. How am I going to listen?
You can't find the app. You can't even have it pushed to your phone.
And we changed the logo, so you can't even look for the logo with the cat, parrot.
Listen, pretty soon we're going to need an app just to remember the names of the ITP hosts.
I know, right? I've got a special group on my app for that. Yes, exactly. Oh, you're a
right now. He just went to my name and said, "Well, delete for that one."
Well, it's 5 years. 5 years since Greg and the original OG Family Guy, Matt, started this, and then they brought you on, then they brought me on. Then they brought Darian on, and then we brought Hannah on. And it's
just showed up. Kent just showed up one day and did a podcast
I saw the camera on. I said, "What's going on here?" Okay, so let's get caught up a little bit here. Let's get caught up because I haven't talked to the two of you. JP, how's JP Mint doing? What is
the lapel microphones?
That's right. Yes, we did.
Microphones.
Hold on, I'm going to get to you in a minute. Hold on, don't go away, Greg.
I interrupted.
Just
go ahead.
Just talk amongst yourself for a minute. JP Mint, how's JP Mint Consulting going? What kind of milestones are you hitting with JP Mint this year?
Well, you know that ITP and JP Mint Consulting actually share the exact same day, April 2nd, but 1 year off. So I'm celebrating 4 years. 4 years. I never thought that this would go for 4 years. And I just signed a 3-year contract with my Wix.com website. So
oh, wow. That is commitment.
Yeah.
That is commitment. That's been longer than many of my relationships over the years. So that's 3 years.
Well, we don't count the voices in your head, Ken.
That's a contract plus an extension in the international teaching world.
Yeah, because it was interesting. Okay. I got the offer from Wix, hey, 50% off or something else. And I was looking at it and I thought, let's just do it. Let's commit to 3 more years of this. And so everything is going well. Almost doubled business from last year. So that is crazy. It just keeps, it's like, I think I heard this, a J curve. Is that the right math term?
The J curve. I like that. Yes. Wow.
JP.
Well, Greg and I just signed a 3-year lease on a oil shipping container going through the Hormuz Strait. So I feel like that now investment might not be solid, but we'll see how that goes.
This is gonna date.
We have intermittent subs are on there too. We can't get a full-time crew, so we just have to get leave replacement crew.
Yeah. Okay. Greg, tell us.
And so that's it. Yeah, Greg, what's
give us a quick update for you, Greg? Because Greg says the show's not really about the host; it's about the guests. And I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know about me. I'm drawing to an end. I got about 4 more months in here. I got about 4 more.
Have you told the ITP crowd lately that this is your deal?
I have.
Dad retirement.
I have in a couple episodes. Yeah. I guess it's more about me. It's more about the ITP. I mean, I'm going to continue doing it. I'll go back to the
There he goes.
But
you know what, Greg? You are the biggest deflector we've ever met. It's like, Greg, how you doing? Oh, it's really more about the show. Well, it kind of is, but it's also kind of about you. Because really, if you weren't here, there wouldn't really be a show. So it's kind of about you and the show. So stop deflecting and tell us about yourself, for heaven's sakes.
All right. Well, I was born back in 19. No, I'm just kidding. Woke up this
So
morning.
they know
and
69. They know that, right?
I don't know. I'm an old guy, that's for sure. And that's the other thing. I'm getting close to retirement. 60 is the retirement age, right? So I'm going to be
You're not
57
60.
in June. Not yet.
Yeah, that's
I'll be
not
50,
60.
57 in June. That's pretty good. But I'll have after I'm in the States here, Kent. I don't know if I told you this, but I'll be looking at a new position. So I will go recruiting next year. I'm going to find someone to do my resume. If you know anybody that does resumes and helps out with finding jobs,
I don't know. If only we knew a resume and a consultant
right?
in this business.
I don't think that person does resumes anymore, even. But give an eye on it and give me some advice. But I'll look for another job after during next year's recruiting season, and we'll see about that. So I'm going to golf next year. I think I'm going to take some Spanish classes with Dad.
Listen, we're not talking about the golf here, okay? This is not a political show.
No, golf, GOLF, right?
And
yeah,
the Spanish classes at the local college.
Absolutely, because my dad's got a girlfriend that's from Colombia originally. She's been in the States for so many years, but came when she was 20. She landed in the States. She's been there ever since, like everybody else in Florida, and from Central and South America. But she's awesome, and he wants to speak Spanish, so I'm going to get him into a course. He's an alpha learner, right? He studies, not like you and I ever did, Kent.
What's an alpha?
My dad actually studies.
Alpha learner. Alpha learner is a go-getter.
Oh, he's like he's top of the class valedictorian, all that kind of stuff. And I figure the best way for him to learn is to be in a setting with, instead of Duolingo, let's focus on one language instead of 14 and learning Hawaiian and stuff like that and Croatian. Let's focus on the one language that he needs to learn, and that's Spanish, so he can talk to his cleaning ladies. Talk to anybody in Florida. You need to know how to
have letters of apology all over the place.
Okay.
Letters of apology. Have you ever been to Florida?
He officially apologizes.
Have you ever been to Florida?
To the entire Spanish language speaking world.
You're missing out on half the life in Florida if you don't speak Spanish. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so sure. For sure.
You think I'm being critical? I'm not being critical of Florida. I've lived in Florida. You have to know Spanish to get along and know people in Florida because their population is Spanish speaking more than English sometimes. Sure. There are parts you go there, you land in Miami and you are in little Venezuela. You go a couple blocks over and it's little Havana. You go a couple blocks over, it might be a Portuguese speaking community. There are so many languages in Miami, it's crazy, but Spanish is number one. Not even English, I don't think. That's in my personal opinion. That's my focus on.
Somebody fact check and write a Gmail to us. Write an email and fact check.
Yeah, fact checkers out there, please.
I would like to appeal to all the Latin speakers out there. Now, we learned that Greg's dad was the top of his class, otherwise known as like a valedictorian. What word do you use for Greg and I, who are at the bottom of the class? What's the Latin word for the lowest student?
What is it? I don't know, Kent. That's a good question. We never talk about those, right? We never talk about the underdogs.
So, Greg, also with Dad Tirement, you have an exciting ITP project. Tell Kent about your ITP project because we've just started to talk about this. I think the last episode.
Listeners, earmuffs. This is just for Kent on the ITP. Don't listen to this part, Kent. Not you.
Supposed to listen?
No, not you, Kent.
Sorry.
You get to listen. No, the idea is I want to do a little in between. We only podcast once every 2 weeks. We publish, and I'm just going to do. I think I'm going to do some kind of retirement show as a sub, like a child show of the ITP. Just only one theme, and that's retirement after international teaching. So I'm just going to do a side work there, and maybe I'll have my podcast host along. But that's a birthday idea to grow a little bit for the ITP, double our income, right?
Double our zeros.
Listen, I this is going to sound kind of jokey too, and it kind of is, but I'll be honest with you. My last year of teaching, I could have done a podcast called the Short Timers Podcast, and it's really just me in the chair napping while the students are doing a worksheet.
Great idea.
It's called Short Timer, the STP, the Short Timer Podcast, because
I love it.
Honestly, when you put your heart and soul in something for over a decade, and then you get down to the sort of the end of it, there's a swirl of sort of emotions and conflicting sort of I kind of a, I really don't need to work hard, but I will. I don't know where that came from, but it's definitely there.
Well, I tell you what, Kent, I'd like to get a little bit into this. As a teacher, I know you, okay? And JP, I don't know if you've never seen him teach, but this is a good question following this setup here, Kent. And we're going to
Yeah.
focus on you a little bit more. But I know I've had this discussion with people. People are like, how's Kent doing? And I say, well, Kent's having a rough time as a sub because your teaching style, honestly, no joke here, your teaching style is getting to know your students. You have great relationship with your students in a homeroom. But now you're faced with the problem of going into a school you don't even know where the bathroom is, much less know one or two kids, much less even know the staff. You're going into a different school every day of the week, or possibly once every week. You're going to new schools, and how do you build a relationship with kids to be that kind of teacher you are? How's it going?
Well, I think you just start at the beginning. There's no other place, right? You start at the beginning. And I will share a conversation I had with one of the principals that I admire here in Bellingham. I won't use his name.
Yeah, don't mention.
But you know, he's been around when I've been subbing, and he's in and out watching. And you know, at the end of one particular rough day, and I will answer your question. You know, I talked to him. I said, "Well, listen, it was kind of rough out there today, wasn't it?" He says, "Listen, it's not you." And he says, "Let me tell you a story." He says, "You know, I'm a principal. I'm in charge of this school. You know, I walk around, I do my job, I run this place." And he says, "But if I'm a guest principal at another school and I'm walking around, nobody knows who I am. And most people don't even care who I am. I'm just like this other guy walking around out there." And he says, "It's not easy being the new person in a school." He says, "You know, don't get discouraged by this, you know." And I think he's dead on right. You know, when we first show up, you know, you might want to say, "Oh, you know, I've been doing this for 2 decades and, you know, I'm really good at this," which, okay, marginal.
No
I'm
one
not that
cares.
great at this.
Yeah.
But you don't get that. It doesn't mean anything. You can't, you know, nobody asks you for your resume. No offense to the resume, but these kids don't want to know your resume. They want to know, you know, listen.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you're not wearing one of those sandwich boards with your degree and then your CV on the back, and you're walking in with a sandwich board going, "Look"?
I don't even care. You could say, you could tell them how many degrees you got. They're like, whatever. What is that? So it's one step at a time. And, you know, and I think there's this sort of this idea that, okay, well, you know, it's all going to be just, you know, it's all going to be get better and better and better the more you do it and the more you get out there. And, you know what? There's good days and there's bad days, just like having your own classroom. So, yeah, step by step is the best you can do. Our town is 5,000 people. I'll go to the local market as I do, and then there'll be like a little kid staring at me. I'm like, "Hey, what are you? You trying to pick a fight with me? What do you want, kid?" You know, and they're like, "You're that some guy." Like I never even taught her. I walked past the hallway with this child.
You're like,
so,
no, that's Jared.
So, I mean, I guess it cuts both ways. You know, there are still good days. There are still fun to do this. It's still fun to connect with the kids and teach the kids and things like that. But yeah, every day is not an easy day. So yes, when you try to build relationships, you got to do it from the very beginning. And you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I would guess, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I would guess that you listen to people a lot more. And in my experience, you are a good listener too, as well as a bundle of energy. But if you don't know somebody, you listen to them. And that's one way to reach out to kids, is to give them a little time where you're not telling them to do something, but you're listening to what they need. And I would imagine that's going to work for you. I can't see any other way. That's the beginning of a relationship, is giving them time and listening. As I interrupt JP.
Well, we didn't say you were the one that no. But I was gonna ask, how's Mrs. Cat with the adjustment?
Good
have
question.
you seen some signs of like very happy to be back, or still struggling with some of the differences?
You know, I was just thinking about that. She's having. I mean, it's not any easier for her than it is for me, or any easier for me than it is for her. We might experience it differently, but it's still a phase you go through that is challenging. And I think I was just thinking about this with some of the challenges at my old school that they're going through kind of currently that you may or may not know about because of the region of the world it's in. You kind of feel, it's kind of weird because it is part of your life for so long. You feel that pain. You kind of wake up in the morning and look at the headlines for no reason other than you think it's like what you always had done. So I think that we have these ingrained patterns. You learn the rules of wherever you live and you work, and you know how things go. You know what you get away with. You know where the lines are. You just kind of know what to expect. There's a predictability in your life when you kind of get into the rhythm of it. And I think coming back to the States, which is weird, is not being in the rhythm of the life, but yet being from there. I think that's just another way of expressing reverse culture shock. And I would say that I'd say it's challenging. I mean, I don't know of any other way around it unless you're walking into a situation that is sort of pre-made for you. I suppose if we were both walking into to jobs and walking into large support groups and things like that, that would be one thing. But for us, it's a fairly new town. The frogs, I told you about the frogs. The weather. My good God. Pardon my language, but listen, when I said, a cold morning in my old country would have been 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm like, well, that's cold, but okay, I can do that. It hasn't been above 32 degrees in the morning for a month. I mean, so I'm done with that. I'm over the cold weather. When I said I don't mind the cold weather, I didn't know what I was getting into. But I think, to make a long story short, yeah, I think it's probably more challenging than you think it's going to be, in my opinion.
Well, and that's the thing. You never know what it's going to be like until you do it, and then you find out. And the common theme that I have heard about people moving back to their home countries is it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. It is a struggle.
It is a struggle. And, listen, what would help my struggle a little bit is if they continue to send me the paycheck they used to send me. If we can arrange that. Nobody tells you that when you stop working, they stop sending you a monthly paycheck. See, I didn't see that coming. So that was
I'll talk to HR for you.
But, thanks. I'd appreciate it if you would. I thought they'd just let that one go, But yes, I would say it's probably a pretty big struggle. And I would say that it's probably not talked about enough because, when you leave your school internationally, that's your support group. And so you've gone from your support group to sort of being on your own. And so, there's not many people to talk to about it, really. So, yes, I think it's
we've got each other and your cats.
I do have cats. Do you guys want cats? I got 2 of them. They run around and destroy things.
No, we've talked about that with other guests where they miss the community, right? Amy Perrier-Morin, the author of Repatriation, right. Mm-hmm. She said you miss that community that's built in friends and family and support, that now you're in maybe bouncing around from school to school. It's hard to make friends, isn't it?
I've known plenty of teachers who were teaching overseas and never left. They retired from their jobs there and end up living there for that very reason. So yeah, it is leaving a community, and yeah, she's right. And I can only say that mostly it's time, and the amount of time, I couldn't even tell you that yet because I'm still in the middle of the process of it, of getting reacclimated.
It's not like you're moving to another school anyway, Kent. You're going from a situation where you had your own classroom for years. You got to know the staff for years. You knew where the bathrooms were. You had your own bathroom. And all of a sudden, yet your wife was coming in and teaching too, right? Mrs. Cat.
But she was there, volunteering at the school every day. And
and now you're in a situation which is fluid. Every day is almost different, and every classroom is different. It's not like you have one place to go. It's got to be difficult for you. So, trudge on, man. Carry through. I wish you the best with this. It's not easy. You're my hero, man. I don't think I can do
it. Listen, there's a lot of upside, too. The air is clean. The water is clean. I don't have to filter my water 4 different ways before I
There's
drink
rain.
it. So that's a
And there's
plus.
rain.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's rain.
What
A little
about
bit too
what
much.
about
Yeah.
are you done with report card comments? Like you don't have to do report cards?
No, that's right. I mean, I resigned from my job 30 times, 3 times a year
No
for
report
10
cards?
years over report
No
cards.
planning?
In my mind, I'd resign, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, there are pluses and minuses. And I think that you tend to forget about sort of the things that you gain. I mean, we have a nice place here. We're lucky we have a place here, except for the frogs. I told you about the frogs, but we do have a nice place. You can edit the frogs out or edit them in.
The frog.
I can invite them in. Welcome to FTP, frogs teaching. Maybe it's just the FP. I don't know. What do you want to call it?
Hey,
Anyway.
Kent, let's switch modes a little bit, Kent. Here, do you know?
We're done talking about the frogs? Is that what you're telling me? All right,
Yes, no more frog. Do you know one of the best episodes, still the number one episode, at least number 2 or number 1 that we've had on the ITP in the history of the ITP? One of the greatest episodes. Do you know what it is?
It's the recruiting one when
know.
we were talking in the living room. Is that it?
Number 18. Kent and I sat down and we didn't have a guest show up or something. We're just like, let's just talk about something. Let's talk about recruiting. And Kent and I went into detail about recruiting and our thoughts and what recruiters are looking for. It's a great episode. Kent, you should go back. If you ever listen to one, you should go back and listen to 18. It's like 2021.
I don't want to I don't know if I recall correctly at that episode, Greg and I had just got some new microphones and we wanted to try them out. So we turned them on.
Yes.
And just to see if they're going to work. And then we just start talking about ITP stuff and the recruiting, and it became an episode. But really, it just started out as a way to test the microphones.
Magic. It was magic, and it's good. It's good information, right? We thought it through. We were just doing off the cuff, and I think that's the way ITP's always been, right? We don't script anything, and it's worked, right? Wow. I just thought I'd mention that.
Was that before your book? Was that before you wrote your first book?
No.
It was after.
Already written. Okay.
It was after. Yeah.
I was going to say, could we say that episode was the instigator for the book? But no, not so much.
Well, you can say that. You can say whatever you want, JP. Go ahead, say it if you want to. The book came out before the podcast. Okay. It was like February of 2021, like on Valentine's Day, I think, or the day before. And then the ITP was born in April. So it was, okay. And that was just because
fair, the book was probably being written for about 10 years, I imagine.
20 years, yeah, at least.
Yeah, he'd been working. When I met him, he's like, "Oh, I'm working on a book." And I'm like, "Well, can I see it?" He's like, "No, I'm working on a book."
Right. And like my buddy Joe says, it doesn't matter if you're writing a book. You're only done when it's published. So if you can't publish,
we're all writing books here. JP and I are writing books. Come on.
Right,
I got 3 books right here.
I mean, I'm writing a movie. I'm writing a book. I'm writing an
opera. But Kent and I would do other things besides podcasting. We moved on from that, and during the times that we were together after school and stuff, podcasting. Kent and I used to do flute, right? We used to do flute duets during lunch. I used to have lunch with him and Miss Cat when they came.
Yeah. Have you gotten out your instruments lately? Yeah. Have you been playing?
I have been playing a little bit, but not as much as when you were here. I've been practicing the banjo at lunch usually. And the reason that we do that at lunch, JP, was so we didn't have to travel, that whole time to get home, which is 3 minutes. But leaving school and coming back it's not my nature. I like to stay there and be ready. And in between there, you get more time to do some kind of other activity. And I turned it into building or playing music or something. And Kent and I would usually... we would do something, or Kent had anime during lunch sessions. He'd have at least twice a week. He'd have 20 kids into his room learning about anime or doing some other kind of lunch, detail. Great classes that Kent would offer for a 3rd and 4th
Kent,
grader.
Did you see the Oscars that K-pop Demon Hunters Golden song won the Oscar?
And you know what?
Is that anime?
Yeah. And did you know that one of the producers of that show is Canadian and Korean and Canadian? So is it was the Canadian who won that Oscar.
Go Canuckies.
At least part of the team.
Canuckies.
I just know that it's an earworm. Every time I hear it, I am singing it for days afterwards. I do really enjoy it. But I was wondering, is that
Yeah.
anime or is that just simply
Yes.
animation?
Well, it's animation, but it's very much inspired by the world of anime.
Okay.
It's got a very positive message too about, what's on the inside and all that. Great music. Um, Villains who are kind of villains, but not villains. And you don't really know who the real villain is. It's a great, you got to hand it to them to make that K-pop Demon Hunters, to make that an appeal to such a wide audience of kids across the world is amazing.
Like a
I'm in the classroom.
kindergarten
They're like,
singing it and drawing it.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
right. It's amazing. So kudos to them, and they are going to have a sequel coming out at some point. But again, shout out to Canada
I
for
heard
being
that.
part of that
Yeah.
project.
Well, and Korea, because I do remember seeing the speech of the lady that said, I'm sorry it took us this long to put you into animation so that you would see
Yeah,
your face reflected. I thought that was very
hmm
touching too.
that was very nice, and she was crying when she said it.
Well, she wasn't alone.
We still have a problem with Asian representation in the across North America. To be honest, it's still a project in being in motion. Let's say
In progress. Yes, it's in
in
progress.
progress. That's right.
So what's coming up, Kent? What's a new project or pickleball season coming, or what's happening?
Well, we got some more tennis coming up. My wife, Carla's had some shoulder and knee issues she's been working on. She does PT and works on that, and we're getting ready to hit the courts again. It's been a couple months for us, so we got that coming up. I got some more classes coming up. I won't get into all of that, but it's been very busy. I mean, from sun up to sundown, life has been busy. I always imagine I'd be, my friend keeps calling up, lives a couple cities away. He's like, how come you're not here? You're just sitting around all day in your underwear.
Frogs.
And I said, the underwear
Frogs.
part is correct, but I'm busy in my underwear.
You're taking classes?
Life has
Is
been,
that what I understand?
I am taking classes at the local college here, one of the local colleges, and it's been very busy. Taking a plethora of courses, including math and some engineering type stuff, and just trying to keep my options open. Greg says he's going to be 57 and ready to retire, but you know what? You could have a whole nother career ahead of you, a whole nother, stint of teaching or anything.
He's not ready to retire. He's retiring 1 year.
You're putting words in my mouth.
No. He always said he's going to have to go out. He's going to have to get dragged out.
Based on our blood pressure, when we say we're going to work till we drop, that could be 2 weeks.
Or less.
Or less.
No, Greg has always said that he was going to get dragged out by his feet, but he is taking 1 year off to spend time with his dad, and then he is recruiting, and he's going to go back, and we'll see where he ends up. It'll be very exciting. Hopefully in a time zone that still kind of works with some of our other time zones.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, work on that Spanish, because your next job could be a Spanish-speaking country, buddy.
That would work well with the International Teacher Podcast. I mean, we have 4 or 5 different time zones we're working with right now. It's hard to get all this together. So at the end of this, we're going to join. Yeah. At the end of this, we're going to segue into the other ITP hosts, right? And we haven't been able to get together. That's why we're going to have to push 2 shows together, one without you, Kent, and one with you right now. So we'll make.
We've been doing shows for years where we just IA you and put you in. I mean, you didn't notice that we didn't call you for about a year.
That's what happened. I couldn't.
That's what happened. It turns out that the fan base liked the AI version of us better.
I think they do. I mean, the AI version of Kent, the AI version of Greg. Imagine that. It'd be just the ITP with JP, right?
You know what? JP might like that version too.
I might just be signing that one up. If I could only figure out how AI works.
Good luck with that.
Oh, boy. So, JP, how's things in your neck of the woods? Sorry, that's the frogs calling. Tell us about your neck of the woods real fast. Give us a quick update on that.
Well, I'm in Mexico, and the hot season's coming up, and then rain season, and then I'll be celebrating my birthday in September with my mom in Canada for the first time probably since I was a kid. Because think about it.
Wow.
When I was a teacher, when I was a vice principal, when I was a principal, where am I in September? I'm in school. I'm in the
Opening, yeah,
country.
getting
I'm
school going.
never going to be in Canada. And I don't know why this ever occurred to me these last 4 years that I've been not in a school, is that why haven't I spent my birthday with my mom? So that's what my big plan is to go back in September. And a certain family member is getting married, and we're very excited. So we're going to have a wedding in our family as well.
Is it you?
And it's not me. It's not me.
News, ITP.
There's no surprise. That's the big plan this year is in a few months I'll be back in Canada. I'm kind of keeping one foot in Mexico, one foot in Canada. Because
what about Luna? Is she keeping a paw in both also? Is
she
going
does.
up to Canada with
She
you?
has a wide straddle. She's able to come back and forth flying with me on the airplane.
No, she just stepped
That's
right
her
over
thought.
the U.S. Just kind of stepped right over it. Listen, JP spending time with her mom. Greg spending time with your dad. Listen, I will say one other change that's happened since I got back to the U.S. is that my mother has stopped taking my calls. You know, when I'm overseas and I call, she's like, "Oh, I better take that. That's my son living overseas." Now I'm living down the road.
No, you're too
I
close to
can't
her.
get her on the phone. She's like, "It's just that guy. I'll talk to him anytime."
Wait, I thought
So if any of you see my mom, let her know that I'm alive and well.
I thought Oregon, California. I thought there was one episode.
No,
where
she's
I
down
heard
in
that she was
California, so not right down the
California.
road, but still,
Okay, kind
you know,
of.
she could.
Yeah.
Mom, if
You're
you're
still too close
listening,
to talk
answer
to.
the phone.
Text me back, please.
Either that, or I'll just go hang out with Greg's dad. He'll be my new
We're
family.
taking callers. We're taking callers.
You're on the air.
Please call in and say hi to your son.
Oh my God.
Never mind the
Oh,
frogs,
man.
Mom.
We
Never
have
mind the
missed you,
frogs.
Kent.
You know, I would imagine this production would get much more professional without me yammering on about things like frogs and whatever else I talk about, anime, manga.
Nope.
Well, your anime has been doing your animation AI has been doing great on the show, Kent. Right? Very small show, but you haven't
Listen,
heard episodes recently.
I'll be honest with you. There's some things that I just can't. I'm not ready for. I mean, AI voiceovers. I can't deal with them. The big thing now is they do animated commercials, and it's just their way of saying we don't want to pay actors. And so, and not
They
only
do
that,
animated podcasts.
You have an animated podcast.
AI podcast. Completely. I won't listen to them.
Right?
I'm not going to listen to them. Are you? I'm not going to listen to them.
No, you could do it. You remember? Yeah, you could do it. I won't even get into it, but I'm not.
Not a fan.
I am excited about technology, but this is one aspect of technology that doesn't excite me. I'm still excited about human beings.
Kent, we have people writing into the ITP as agents and managers for guests. I can tell an email that's written by an AI immediately, because what they'll do is they'll start with a paragraph that goes through almost a perfect summary of one of our episodes. And I'm like, there's no way they listened to that episode if they did that perfect summary. There's no way.
And then that's right. And then I love at the bottom of the letter that summarizes the bullet points of the letter they just sent you.
Right? And they'll be like, oh, we're listening to episode 18 and you and Kent are absolutely amazing sitting there talking about all things recruiting. And then, oh, and by the way, we have a guest that we'd like you to have on the show. And I'm like, nope, it's not going to happen. And I send them back an email usually saying, no way.
JP, this does not include you, but I think could be our version of the CAPTCHA, and this does not include you, JP. But if we just ask that same AI, which one of the two hosts, Greg or Kent, is better looking, the whole system's going to come crashing down because no AI in the world can answer that.
Confusion. Nope, it's a loop. Like, there's no way to answer. The answer is neither. The answer is JP.
Well, I think at this point, I don't know if anyone is still listening at this point, AI or...
He's like, yeah.
I wanted to say it has been amazing to see you, and we really do hope that we see you again, that you come back in the fold anytime when it works with your schedule, when it works with your pickleball and tennis and college classes and subbing. We do understand you're busy, and we do appreciate you taking the time this evening.
Well, it's very nice of you to say. And I will say that you guys have a very lovely new host with Hannah, right? Did I get the name right? I got it right? I mean, I've interviewed her twice. And I met them at the airport on the way home. We converged in Dubai one year. They were flying out of whatever area they were flying out of, and I was flying out of my area. And we had just interviewed them for the first time, and we were hanging out at the Dubai airport.
I forgot.
So you got a very lovely co-host.
Still one of the best baby COVID taxi border stories ever. So yeah, definitely. And I even have it written down, 99 and 136. I have it written down on a little post-it next to my microphone. Episodes 99, go listen to that episode for sure for one of those stories. But yes, no, we were very happy that Hannah could come and join us. And, you know, I do understand Greg was saying something like, boy, if all 5 of us actually happened to show up at the same time as a guest, and let's say the guest was 2 people, that'd be 7 windows. That would be a little crazy, but I'm up for it. Let's try it. Let's see what that looks like.
Well, listen, with the 5 hosts on there, the guests would be like, well, maybe I'd come back next time and talk.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like are you wrapping up?
Say how you doing? Thanks for coming.
I'm kind of wrapping up because I'm thinking.
Well, we still have another 2 or 3 hours with Kent on the line. What are you talking about?
No, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Double episode.
I haven't even hit record yet.
I mean, 5 minutes of material here.
I thought we were just planning this out. I didn't even hit record. What are you talking about?
All right. Well, you guys are beautiful. You're lovely. And I will say hi to the other hosts. And now I'm out. You guys are great. I will.
All right, let's take a moment for a little commercial about how to get in touch with us. You can, of course, find all 4 of us at the itpexpat.com. That's www.itpexpat.com.
Or you could also find us at email at internationalteacherpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Or if you're into Facebook, we have a Facebook group at www.facebook.com/groups/ITPexpat, where you can find all kinds of inside information about ITP Expat.
You can also find us on Instagram at International Teacher Podcast at our handle.
All right. And thank you, listeners. We have over 100 countries represented by our listeners. And though we're not monetized, we are here for you. And we would like to thank all of you for listening. So let's get back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh, I think I just blew everybody's eardrums. I came in hot. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the International Teacher Podcast. I am so excited because today we are celebrating 5 years, 5 milestone years of the International Teacher Podcast. I am joined with 4 hosts for 5 years. First of all, we have Darian, long lost co-host Darian in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
Good to be back. Good to see you. You have to make it for the 5-year anniversary.
For those that are listening, we need to hear you as well as see you. And then we are also joined by our latest co-host, Hannah. Hannah, the better than family guy, family gal.
Hi.
And of course, we are joined by the hostess with the host with the most, the original OG founder of ITP, Greg, the single guy wearing his Go Patriots. What is that? What's that?
Oh my God. Oh, it's the Green Bay Packers, JP. And by the way, I'm so sorry that we kicked you so badly in the Olympics. First time since the 1980.
It's
First
okay.
time. Sorry, Canadians.
The Green Bay Pukers.
I know. I'm gonna.
We're gonna ignore Hannah for a second, listeners. Okay, and she's just jealous.
Not.
Hey, it's good to be back, JP. I never thought that, and Matt never thought that it would be 5 years.
Yeah.
But you guys, while we're out talking about it, most podcasts, from what I understand, last for like 5 or 10 episodes. Would you believe that? And we've been on the air since 2021 for every 2 weeks, basically. We've been putting out. So we have to thank our listeners for that and our guests.
I just quickly looked at the spreadsheet and it's like over 140 episodes. So when you say 5 to 7 episodes, it's amazing the content I've only been here a few years, but that is amazing.
And it's amazing because, we have I think we have 500 followers on Apple. I think we have 400, something like that, 400 on Spotify. We've got a few on YouTube. Most listeners listen to podcasts. It might take off if you want to see us on YouTube. That's fine. But listen to us, our beautiful voices, and hear what we have to say. A couple more stats for you. We're at probably over 65 to 70,000 total downloads over the last years since the beginning. And our listener base is over 140 countries, I think. And that grew a lot because the first year it was like my mom. That was that was the podcast right there. Like, Mom. And I couldn't put her on as a guest because she was back in the US at home. She never traveled as a teacher. I couldn't put her on. Even if I did, she didn't want to listen to herself. Mm-hmm. So it didn't work out that way.
And now we have 5 co-hosts along with Matt, a 6th, guest host. Anytime he wants to come, Matt, we love you. We miss you. And we think that would be amazing if he ever did come back. But with Kent, who is quite busy actually in the US, it's very tough to find a good time because he is substitute teaching and he's back with, getting reacquainted with the US system. But he has not left, folks. He's here.
He teaches 8 days a week.
It seems like it. But Darian, give us a little update of what's been going on in the world of Darian, because this is a great time to get to know what has been going on.
We've been plodding along happily, as many things in Saudi Arabia tends to be about routine. And so we went home for the summer. We've returned. Everyone's a year older. My daughter is 12 now. So I'm looking at her and she's in those preteen stages. So I'm nervous, scared, apprehensive, all the synonyms of just her kind of coming into her own. It's beautiful to see, but it kind of makes you nervous that your princess is turning into a young lady. And so my life has been consumed with trying to make sure I've been present and there and, creating conversations and spending time and things of that nature to ensure that our relationship is strong as she comes into her own. Kids are growing up. Just came back from Amsterdam, which was really neat. Took a little trip out there. Boys are getting older, becoming young men. It's just been kind of a hodgepodge of just experiences and just trying to take some time to enjoy every single one. And so it's been neat. It's been neat, but just been taking this time to really be present with the family and the kids.
That work-life balance is always something we're chasing, isn't it? And in your case, with a number of kids and with a wife as well to balance, and they're having some time with her as well. That's the challenge that we're always looking for.
Yes. We did I went to Amsterdam because my wife went to Amsterdam a couple of months ago. So we tried to refill our buckets by taking these. We have trips and things we do together, but taking these individual trips is something that we put in a little while ago to try to get somewhere independently. And then, because we're international, a lot of the places we go is as a family. And so sometimes the most difficult part is trying to find time to refresh yourself because you're always putting your family first.
Yeah.
And so it was neat to just travel with a friend of mine. And we just did some things that you can't do as spontaneously when you have a family. Went to Amsterdam, went to Bilmer, which is like a kind of like a suburb. And it was amazing that it was a city that was trying to almost reinvent itself. And so we talked to a bunch of just entrepreneurs and random entrepreneurs in Amsterdam that were building up businesses and trying to pour back into their communities. And so it was probably one of the most influential trips I've taken because it wasn't necessarily touristy. It was just these small conversations from entrepreneur to entrepreneur to entrepreneur for about 4 to 6 hours.
Was it a conference or something you attended?
No. So we went looking.
Just random?
And as we were looking, we would just stop at a store, and they had it was neat. We started our journey at this store where the country of Amsterdam, they support art and they also support entrepreneurship. And so they have these stores that are empty, and every 2 weeks they get new entrepreneurs to come into the store. Well, we went in there and we looked at these entrepreneurs and talked to them, bought some product and tried to support. And they led us to another lady who was creating a jazz, R&B, hip hop, soca recording studio where people can come in and record and use her equipment and just pay for those fees. And then she told us about her vision of what she wanted to put into the community, where they would have almost like a restaurant with live music. And then she called ahead to this guy named John, who spent some time in New York, and he had a DJ studio where people could come in and utilize his equipment in order to live stream. Because I didn't know it, this is, I'm 40 is on my back. And so I'm a little disconnected from the youth. But a lot of people, if you have a live recording, you can just put that in your background. You can play that at your party because people are, DJing and switching and entertaining in an area, but to millions or hundreds of thousands of people on TikTok and Instagram. And so you can just put that as your background and you can actually almost be at the party. So the opportunity to utilize this equipment, and it was that over and over and over again, which was really neat as we just had these conversations with these people.
Let's dig into this a little bit then, Darian. Did you cut a tune for the ITP in the background, either at the DJ booth or in the studio? Did you cut a tune for us?
I mixed it up and I put my thing down, flipped it and reversed it. But
2027.
God, he's producing it. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was 5-year anniversary and everything. And he says it's going to take him some time to produce it, put in the auto tune.
Got it.
He has some guests that are dropping in.
I like this story. I like the way we're reading this story along. What a great trip you had.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the best trip when you go off the beaten path and you just do something that you would not expect to have done.
Yeah,
Love those trips.
I have to say, if you ever go to Amsterdam, there's a tourist spot, but you want to go to Zuidoost. I think it's like the southeast in Bilmer. You have to go. It's live. It's really diverse. It was diversity that I didn't expect to see in Amsterdam, and it was just a surprise and a very welcome one. It was really neat.
So I have a question. Did you happen to get the names of some of these entrepreneurs?
The one man was named Jean. See, and the thing about it, I was like, that 40 that's on my back, it hurt me because the first question people are asking is, follow me on Instagram. Will you follow me on Instagram? And I don't have an Instagram account. And I was just thinking to myself, I could have, there's just opportunities to connect with people. So I remember John. I took some pictures. I remember John. I don't remember the young lady's name, but I have pictures. And so now I'm like on Google trying to reverse image search to see if I can find these people, because it was just one thing I struggle with is recording memories because I just like to stay in the moment. So oftentimes I won't have my phone. I won't have anything. I'll just be there in the moment. And so, that's one thing I could do better with is just connecting and, maybe just get an Instagram account so that you can follow these really unique and amazing people.
If you ever do find their names, send them my way because I have some Dutch heritage on my dad's side. And so I guess I do have some relatives still in the Netherlands.
Really? Oh,
I thought you were going to say you have some money to throw around with us, as an entrepreneur, and
to invest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Hannah, have you ever taken a solo trip?
No.
I think this concept is fascinating.
Yeah.
And good for you, Darian, for thinking of it and proposing it out there. I think Greg and I, that's all we do.
It's the opposite, though.
Trips.
No, it's the opposite. I have to really think about it and put it into my trip schedule, if you will, to go and see family. I really have to take that time to make sure that I go and spend quality time with my family instead of going traveling all the time. And I've been doing a lot better than that for certain reasons in the last couple of years. But I think going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more proactive with that. And one of the things I'm going to be doing soon is I'm going back to the U.S., not to even necessarily see my family. I will, but I'm targeting one of my friends. And I've never gone back before just to see a friend, which, a whole trip. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to Europe. I was going to go to Germany and stuff and see family, but I got a friend that just needs to, I need to see him. So I'm going to go back and do that. Yeah. But Darian, he spends a lot of time with his family, and it makes it more rich to go off on that solo trip. And it's probably better for your marriage, better for your family. And my little brother, he and his wife would always have date night. They got so busy, so separated with their family, and they had 5 kids, right? When the kids were younger, they started doing date night because he was a doctor, right? They did date night once a month. And it was a priority for them to stay together as a marriage and as a family. And it worked great. So that on a smaller scale, similar to what you're doing with your time out. Maybe Hannah will get to a point. I can't remember how old your kids are, Hannah. They're a little bit younger.
Yeah, there's
Darian's at a point where his kids are a little bit older and easier to manage, right?
Yeah, but we do have scheduled date times out where our nanny takes care of the kids, and then we go out and we have some us time. Most of the time it's just going to a restaurant and grocery shopping, but occasionally JP jumps on and helps us with recruiting. Remember that, JP?
I remember. I was like on the date night. I was on the iPad date night, and I went, what the heck? This is not supposed to be the content of your date night is a JP Mint video call. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I have not heard of something like that. That is hilarious.
Darian, feel free. You and your wife can have a date night with JP Mint as well.
Listeners, when you're out on date night with your super other, just call out to JP and she'll talk with you.
Okay,
get you through the date night.
Clarify this. We were in the process of recruiting, so we were talking like shop, but it was like we had a meal beforehand, and then it was like, okay, time to call JP, right? Like, and hash out details of our CVs or whatever we were doing.
That's what happens when you're recruiting. That almost takes the priority. It's like, where are we going? What are we, what are we going to be teaching, and where are we going to be living? So But Hannah, tell us a little bit about your family, because for new listeners that may have not heard your previous episodes and your intro episode, they're going to be listening to this anniversary and go, wait, what happened? We got a new host? What's going on? So Hannah, just give us like that elevator pitch.
My husband and I have been married 10 years now. We were college sweethearts. We hit the ground running, I think, a couple months into our marriage with international teaching in Brazil first. And then we moved to Kuwait, and we had our first kid in Kuwait. He's 6 now. He's our COVID baby. Right on the cusp of COVID. We have a crazy COVID baby story that goes along with that. So that was episode, 99 or something?
I wrote it down somewhere, but I lost it. At episode 99, I think, yeah.
It was our police story. And then we moved in the midst of that to Texas for a couple of years because we thought that was a great idea, and turned out it wasn't. But had our second kid while we were in Texas, and then decided, our was 3 months old, I think, at the time. And we were like, oh, we're going back to Kuwait. Actually, I was super pregnant with him when we decided. But when the paperwork was all said and done, I think he was like 3 months old. Lived in Kuwait for 3 years. Now here we are, first year in Pakistan, and loving it so far. So that's kind of the quick elevator pitch of my family. So,
and for listeners, interesting for us is you're both a adult who works internationally, but you were also a kid who went to an international school.
Yeah.
Because your parents were missionaries?
Yes, correct. My parents were missionaries in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, which is how we got our first international teaching job, was at the school that I attended. That's also a funny story. I graduated from there, but I didn't really graduate from there. So yeah, ended up there. Yeah. Back
But
home.
wait, what do you mean? You didn't graduate from high school, or?
Do you guys want another police story?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we need police stories on these episodes, of course. Darian, you're next.
Okay. So this is from my teens police story, okay? When I was a month into my senior year of high school, my parents went to go do visa paperwork stuff. We were in Rio at the time. They went to go do visa paperwork, and I guess they had changed the way that they were doing visas that year. And for some reason, we fell through the cracks. And my parents went when I was at school, and my dad said that he remembers seeing we had kind of made friends with some of the people at the immigration. The head of the immigration, he remembered, was the one who stamped deportation stamps on our visas. And they gave us a week to get out of the country. And they're like, I'm sorry. And there's nothing you can do. Your visa's up in a week. Get out. So we did. I mean, of course, we contacted a lawyer at first to try and figure out what our rights were. But at that point, it was like, okay, there were no rights. So my parents gave me 2 suitcases, told me to pack as much as I could. And that was that. And a few days later, found myself in Des Moines, Iowa. Because we had lived in Des Moines when I was younger. And so they thought it would be easier for me to kind of restart there. I ended up technically graduating from the high school in Des Moines. It's a public high school. But my parents were able to get all of the visa paperwork sorted within a couple of months. So they moved back to Rio. I stayed with some friends. And I did my graduation ceremony in Des Moines. And then I flew down to Rio and walked in the graduation ceremony there as an honorary graduate, and was just handed a blank diploma.
So that you could be with your friends that you'd grown up with.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a blank piece of paper, or did it have your name on it?
It was
like
rolled
they ripped
up.
off a piece of notebook paper and put a little bow on it.
They rolled up. They were all blank. They had rolled up and done the like rolled kind or whatever, and with the fancy bow, and then they gave the diplomas later. You know.
I don't even remember my last 2 graduations.
Yeah.
So that sounds good. At least you got a blank. At least you got something out of the deal.
And you, in fact, graduated some form of high school. So that explains how you became a teacher, because otherwise it'd be like,
yeah,
how'd that happen?
So I don't know if I claim that I graduated there or not, because it was an interesting time.
But later you went back as a teacher.
Great TCK story. And very, part of our little family here, to hear that you are our only TCK. So you have a whole different view on this show compared to the rest of us do. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if anybody follows Hannah's Instagram, it's a combination of mom of boys and I drink coffee. and then every now and then there's sort of the Brazilian Venn diagram. It's like 3 circles. It's like coffee, Brazil stuff, although there's an overlap there, and then Brazil and kids, and that overlaps. So yeah, it's always interesting. I like watching. So speaking of Instagram, Hannah's really into Instagram, and
we're hoping
shares
that Hannah's going to take over the ITP Instagram, because we've been failing with that.
Sure, guys
out there, fans of the ITP. I don't know.
Once her master's is done. Once her master's is done.
Right.
Actually, I'm trying to get my Instagram up and running as a kind of like a traveling with kids, international teacher, expat mom type, whatever you want to call it, Instagram.
Nice.
So, I mean, who knows,
And then wait, world, here comes Darian. He's going to be Instagramming soon.
Yeah. I'll help you out, Darian.
Yeah, check out.
Once we figure out what kind of phone he has.
Yeah.
Greg, you're not on Instagram, are you?
I think I've been on Instagram for like 10 years, but I have no idea when the last time I posted. I did it for my nephews and nieces when they were into it. That was like 100 years ago. But I am too busy with other Instagram accounts, other side gigs and I don't really prefer Instagram. It's more of it's not my gig. I don't even like Facebook that much.
Love watching the reels. I love following people, but as for creating content, I'm just a screenshot or make a photo collage and pick collage or something, because I don't. Yeah, I've even had a tutorial with my cousin's daughter. My cousin's daughter who uses Instagram for her business, and her husband. So Brown Paper Things, shout out to Brown Paper Things on Instagram. I did a tutorial with them to try and figure this out, and it still didn't take. That how do I do reels? How do I do stories? What is this thing? What do I do exactly?
JP, you could use this for your JP Mint Consulting.
I know, but I just, like Greg even asked me, go and post this on Instagram. He gives me the shorts from these riversides. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So now we have an Instagrammer on our staff, Greg, and we can definitely.
I'll double your salary, Hannah. I'll double your salary. That's right.
By the way, for listeners, if you want to follow me, reach out to That Expat Family.
That Expat
There you go.
Family.
We can plug you for that.
Yeah.
And when Darian gets his Instagram going, we'll get his going too.
Follow That Expat Family.
He can be That Expat Dad.
Ooh, you
better
can be
than That Expat
Dad,
Family.
Darian.
We'll see. When it comes to post, I'm nervous because I feel like you have to consistently do it. I'm always nervous about when to post and how it is content. Is it something you have to commit to, or I don't know? It boggles my mind.
You have to.
Yeah.
I think it matters whether or not you're trying to make a business out of it, or whether you're just trying to share with your friends and family and people that care, because you can get followers and it'll just pop up. If it's not a focus for you, for your business, your side gig, your hobby, if you just post whenever you post for your family, if it's once a week, I think consistency matters. But if it doesn't, because you have a spur of the moment Instagram, I think that's great too. There's a whole bunch of people in the world that just post to Instagram when something great happens, or when something sad happens, or when they want to reach out to somebody. That's just my opinion from looking at a few Instagrams. I can't get addicted to Instagram Reels, because the last time I got addicted to something on my phone, I sat on my toilet for 2 hours playing a video. Like what is that game? I got addicted to the Candy Crush.
Oh,
I was on like 700, level 700, and I realized I lost all feeling in my legs. I had been sitting on the toilet for 2 hours, and I deleted it from my phone, and I never went back. So I would rather do more productive things, and it's addicting. But to answer your question, Darian, you can post as much as you want to. There's no rule about when you can post. They won't take away your account.
No, Instagram will give you feedback. So I don't know if they do this to you, Hannah, as a non-business. So I am a business account. JP Mint Consult, I think, is my Instagram handle. But I clicked over to business, not knowing what I was doing, and then that immediately meant that I couldn't use any real music. So now I just have like fake music. Yeah, and it's so bad because when I think of something and I want to use that little tune or that little song, I can't find that song in my list because
you need to reach out to a few entrepreneurs in Amsterdam, and you could find a couple people making some music for your background.
Music. There you go.
And talk to Darian. He might find that the name of the person that's got a picture of it. He's got a picture of him on the phone. So just bringing all this conversation together, we like to do that on the show. Right.
I just posted right now.
Ooh, she posted while we're. Yeah, I don't even know how to turn my phone on while we're doing. That's too many things at once.
Well, listeners, this has turned into a hobby, kind of side gig thing. What international teachers do when they're not on a podcast. This is pretty interesting. I like it. Right?
Yeah, but let's get back to sort of updates. So we've got Darian's update. Greg, we haven't had an update about you for a while. I'm looking back at our list, and it was December.
Not much to talk about.
No,
I think I announced that I'm going to live in Florida for a whole year with my father, which is funny because he's dadcation or dadtirement.
Dadtirement. Yeah.
By the way, you need to create a Instagram for and then hashtag dadtirement. Okay, you're gonna go viral.
I can't wait for you to do that for me. I mean, you've got such experience. I mean, I'll triple your salary. That's what I'm going to be doing. And I know that the school's going to be sad. Darian's going to be sad without me. I'm going to go spend a year with my dad. I guess an update would be that I just signed him up for college. I reached out to the Florida State University to see if we can get Spanish classes because he's a doctor. Right. He's retired. He's like 83, but I think he would learn Spanish better instead of Duolingo. I think it would be better if he had something in front of him, like a book, and we talked to some college students, even some nice looking women, get my dad all going on that kind of stuff, and talking in Spanish with real people and getting a textbook open, learning vocabulary. I think that's going to work because he's got 2 maids that are Spanish speaking, very little English. And he keeps pulling out the Duolingo phone when he's trying to talk to him about what else needs to be done. He fails at that. And he's trying to focus on like 15 other languages, but his girlfriend is from Colombia originally. And that's my new mission. I'm going to get my dad into a college course. I'm actually going to take a course in Spanish or learn Spanish. And I've never had an official course before. I learned on the streets, which is going to be fun. And we're going to spend time together. But
why not learn Portuguese? Because Brazil, they have a very big population of Brazilians in Florida.
Because my dad's girlfriend is Colombian, speaks fluent Spanish, and he's missing out on this. And if he's doing it, I'm going to do it. I mean, I literally don't need to go and learn Spanish. I mean, it would be fun, but I'm going to be well ahead of everybody else with speaking. Yeah. But I've never taken a course, a college level course. I'm not talking about a Berlitz course because I don't think that would be very beneficial. So I'm looking into a university course where we actually go and sit down 3 days a week for an hour or whatever, have to submit things for a grade. I think my dad, as a super learner, got through medical school and all that stuff, he would probably thrive with that kind of a mission.
Have you asked him? Is he on board?
I threw that overboard, just threw a warning shot at him to see if he's interested. And he said, bring it on. So I'm like, yes, I can't wait. That's my update.
Field trip to Mexico would be a great thing for both of you to just check out and be able to,
Well, we're nearly there. We're in Florida. I mean, it's just like, we're almost there.
Well, you'd have 2 bedrooms with your names on the door. I would even make plaques. I would say Greg the single guy and Dr. Lemoyne, dad of single guy. And have
I appreciate the invitation. We might have to couch surf. Although my father's not really into doing a lot of travel right now. He's more focused on staying. He's just closing his house up in the north, selling that. And he's going to settle down. I think he's just going to settle down and sort of sundown down in Florida. And he's got his golf going. I need to improve my golf game, which is sad because I have a golf course right here within walking distance. I mean, the lights, I can see them from my apartment. At night for night golf, I need to go out and golf. But I'm just not a golfing any more than Darian is. I don't golf. Darian doesn't golf. I don't think. We've never talked golf.
I was waiting for you to, point me in the right direction.
There you go.
It's that way, Darian. I haven't been in your apartment, but it's exactly like every other kind that's around here. So I figure it's probably that way.
The only time I've golfed, my brother is a huge golfer, and I really wanted to get into it, but I've only golfed when it's been one of those charity golfs, that you do 9 holes and then you drive from hole to hole, and you rent your
shotgun
equipment,
round.
You don't have any.
Here's
And
a golf story.
By round, or is it round hole?
Yep.
By the hole 3, I was like, do I have to get out of the cart now? Because, the drinks are happening and you're just like getting lazier and lazier. By 9, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
That sounds like my trip to golf.
Can I give you a golf story while we're on this here?
Yeah.
I lived in Cairo, and I had a contract at the school, the American school in Egypt, the American International School in Egypt. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that worked at one of those schools. They have like 9 schools around the Middle East. I don't know if they still do. ESOL schools, yeah. So here's my story, is that they had, I don't know if they still do, and Darian, check this out, man. You may not be a golf guy, but I know you guys might not be golf people, but you're pyramid fans. I know you all like pyramids, and I bet you both fangirled the pyramids, people on pyramids.
Not pyramid schemes, but the Giza, the OG.
Exactly.
The OG pyramids. Okay.
I'm talking to the OG pyramids. Okay, so there's a 9-hole golf course right near the pyramids. Ooh. So one of these other teachers and he and I both together, we had like 4 guys carrying our golf clubs, our beer, and we're in golf carts. They're walking behind us. It's, I don't know how many degrees it is outside, but we're golfing right near the pyramids. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna knock it off a Khufu and right into the hole. I'm gonna knock it off the pyramid and right in the hole in one. I couldn't believe, I have pictures of me swinging a golf club and missing the ball, but in behind me is a picture of a pyramid, the Great Pyramids of Egypt. I'm like, oh, it is fantastic. It was just, I don't even remember. It was 9 holes. I don't know what I got. I can't really count holes. I don't know how to count golf. And it was an experience. Not really that detailed of a story, but I was there. And that's an international teacher story right there.
Yeah. Was it green grass? Did they have like some kind of fake grass?
Nope. We do have in Saudi, we do have some golf courses that are like oiled down sand, and they put a little piece of grass at the to drive the ball when you start off, sort of like putt-putt golf. They have a little square of grass, and then you knock it off, and the green might be a little bit of green around the hole. So there are holes like that. But our golf course on our compound here, it's an 18-hole golf course with grass. They water the hell out of it, which is crazy. Think what you want, but it's great to go out there. You see the desert fox go along and cross over the fairway when you're at night. It's beautiful. I love desert fox. They're all over here, although they do eat people's cats and dogs. But they're wild ones all over camp. It's great.
That went a different direction.
I know my mind goes that way, though. And sorry, listeners, that's just that's the way I've been for years, and you've listened to me on this show for a lot. One other thing about golf.
Wait, I thought Hannah had a golf story. Can we just check in with Hannah?
Do you have a golf story?
I mean, I have a golf story I stole from my husband, but it's not. Is that close enough?
2 point.
If not, then I have another one.
So during the 2016 Olympics, was it the 2016 Olympics where it was in Rio? We were living there at the time, and actually I was back home for a little bit right at the beginning of the Olympics. I was in the US, and Jake got to go see golf at the Olympics.
I didn't know because it was an Olympic sport.
No, it normally isn't, but every year or every time they have a new Olympics, that country that is hosting gets to choose 3 new sports. And Brazil, I guess, decided to choose golf, which is hilarious because if you know Brazilians, they are not quiet. So Jake is there with a buddy, because we got cheap tickets, and he's there with a buddy, and they're being quiet, and all the Brazilians are being super loud and cheering every time someone knocks it in the hole, and everyone's like shushing them, and they just did not get it. They were just excited to be at the Olympics, right? And they're gonna cheer for it.
That would be my kind of crowd for sure. I don't think I could, shut up enough to be watching, to not be
it's like
reacting.
A scene out of Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for having golf during the Olympics in Rio that year. I appreciate it. Thank you for the committee, whoever decided that they could do that. I think if we have our own choice, we should have beer pong.
Yes.
For the U.S. I think so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Olympics, I was happy to watch the
Canada
curling
lose.
teams. Yeah, well, that was very disappointing in the hockey. But the curlers were really interesting. And the Canadian that kind of got some flack for being a little voice of a little bit of vocal when he was being accused of touching the it was the famous touching of the rock as it was crossing the line. But
That's
you know,
the
with
sport where they
AI
have
these
big
days, we don't
toothbrushes,
know
right?
what we're watching. We don't know if it's the real thing. And yeah, that's the one that
The
they're
game with the
scrubbing.
big toothbrushes on the ice,
Yeah,
and then they have this thing
exactly.
it's like a big scuttleboard.
You've
Got
never
it.
curled, Greg?
No.
You're from like
We
up
don't have
north
curling.
there.
There is absolutely no curling in Wisconsin
I call
whatsoever.
BS on that.
I have
Did
no idea.
Anybody
you
from
know-
Say that.
Wisconsin, please reach out if you are on a curling team so you can let Greg know. That's got to be Minnesota, Wisconsin, all those northern states. I mean, it's huge in Canada. Every little town has a curling rink.
Well, hell, if you're in Wisconsin at all listening to this, please reach out, because that would be
Yeah.
a heart attack zone for me
You might
right
be
away.
Related.
And we're not
By the way-
including my family.
Fun fact: Brazil became the first South American country to win a gold at the Winter Olympics this time, and guess what? It was a TCK.
Really?
And-
Really?
Yes.
What was the
Did they
sport?
not graduate with you?
No, I think they must have gone to a different school somewhere else. His name was Lucas Pinheiro Brahin. It's Norwegian. So he's Brazilian Norwegian. Securing victory in the giant slalom event. I don't know what
Slalom.
The slalom.
You're
That's the one with the big
Slalom?
the
Arabic
flags where they're
pronunciation.
going around the flags down the mountain. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you wouldn't know
Giant
anyway.
slalom.
Yeah. But that's interesting but are you sure they didn't just recruit him?
Norwegian. No, I think
Right.
he had a Norwegian parent. I
Yeah.
think I read that or heard about that guy. He has a Norwegian parent and a Brazilian parent.
This has
And
become the most interesting episode of the ITP ever.
It's like all over the place. Nice to talk about the podcast, but it's like we're just talking.
Listeners,
about
if
everything
you
else.
have followed this episode, I'm impressed because I haven't followed it.
Well, let's
What,
talk
what's
about
been
the
happening in
future.
your life, JP, man? You didn't give us an update on your life.
Well, I'm back in Mexico. I had a 3-month hiatus of Ontario visits in Canada, as well as a Christmas with my mom in London. So we flew into London. Like
It was a
December
surprise
15th.
for your mom, right?
Not the trip,
No,
the UK trip, but the Paris trip was a
Paris, that's
surprise.
right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
surprised my brother and I surprised her with an extension, sort of, to the UK trip. We did Paris, and we had a blast. We planed, trained, automobiled our way through the UK. We visited 3 of the 4 capitals because the UK is actually made up of 4. Dare I say, countries, for those that are Scots and Welsh and Northern Irish out there, they feel like, their spaces are also countries. So we visited London, Edinburgh, and Cardiff in Wales. And that was my first time in Wales, which is crazy to listen to Welsh. I think I'm listening to something that sounds almost like Arabic. It's like guttural. It comes through the throat a lot. And to see it written on signs, you're like, wait, where's the English on this sign? Because there's so many consonants with X's. And so that was interesting. We got to drive through Wales, and we just missed Northern Ireland on this trip because it's actually on a different island. But we did manage to see quite a bit. And my mom and I got along really well, despite, the snoring in the hotel. Not me, but her. My earplugs came in real handy.
Oh, we apologize, Mom. Mommy Mint. We're so sorry that she brought that up on the worldwide episode of the ITP, brought to you by Mama JP Mint, Mama
Mint. Well, she knows. She wakes herself up. You know, she's like, oh, what was that? And I'm like,
she yelled at herself, stop snoring, stop snoring, stop snoring.
Like, what just woke me up? You did. The freight train that's coming through this hotel, that was you. But no, it was great. And Mom kept saying it was her last trip. We'll see. You know, we'll see if that happens, or if I get to convince her to do another trip in a year or two.
What a great update. Yes. And now she's back hard at work again, ladies and gentlemen. The recruiting season is still going on, and you know that's her side hustle.
I've been seeing a lot of new articles. So Stacey Stevens put out an article in the Thai Online newsletter, and I think it was Kelly Ridings who was on this ITP with us a few years ago on LinkedIn. And people are talking about how the recruitment season is no longer just like a November to February. Like, it really is all year long, and schools are hiring all year long for that, you know, start in, it's February, where I'm still getting a lot of clients getting offers at this time, because I think they're seeing that the turnover is happening. If somebody says, I got a job, now that school has an opening. And if that happens in February, then they're searching in February.
What are two more trends that you're seeing? That's one trend, that the recruitment season seems to be lengthening and continue in less of a season and more of there's just recruitment that continuously is going on. What other trends do you see in the international teaching arena?
Well, I can state that the job fairs are really back. I mean, what I saw this year from clients that went to job fairs, they got job offers. And so that personal face-to-face is definitely back after COVID. It's really important, if you can make yourself get to a job fair, to have those face-to-face meetings. More often than not, clients were successful when they got to job fairs. And then for the first time in years, I joined 2 job fairs. So I got to see a couple of job fairs in Toronto, because they were there while I was there. I signed up with ISS, and I was there to just help people navigate, you know, offers, navigate interviews. I was constantly just pushing everybody, go back in that room and get 2 more interviews, you know.
We should have started the episode with this. What? You went to a job fair? I mean, that's excellent. You know, that's my passion. I love it.
I went with my pens.
Oh, you were advertising.
I had a very good friend in the UK, and she gave me this for Christmas. JP Mint Consulting pen with a iPad. Boop, boop. You know, it's like boop, boop. But yeah, so I was handing out pens. I had QR codes for people to scan, but I wasn't there as a candidate. But even though I had a candidate lanyard, I was there to help. And I didn't want to take away from ISS or, you know, do anything to disparage that organization. I was just there in addition, like trying to help to help teachers. Teachers came from all over to join this ISS job fair. I spoke with people from Arizona, Oregon. I was amazed to think, my gosh, you flew across the country to come to Toronto. And of course it was minus 20 or something, like 20.
Were there a lot of expats from overseas too?
There weren't as many as I had expected. So I was surprised that it was a lot of local, so a lot of Toronto teachers that managed to come and to find out about this. But I didn't meet a lot of people that were already overseas, maybe 2 or 3, you know, in my
question for you. Follow-up question. And then we have the second question, the second trend. But my question about this job fair was, did they still do some interviews in the hotel rooms? The last ISS I went to, they had a lot of them in those sub-conference areas, multiple people having quiet conversations in these open areas. And it's just sort of trending that way, farther and farther away from in a hotel room, that scary thing. Finally, I mean, I was wondering when that was going to happen, right? But just thought I'd confirm that. I mean, it's from what you understand.
So ISS was being hosted at a private school. Branksome Hall is affiliated with Branksome Hall in South Korea, in Jeju. They're separate schools, but they have sort of like a sisterhood. They were hosting. So the interviews were happening basically in that big room. No, actually, no, in that big hall, because it was a big enough hall and it was spread out, that I was seeing interviews happening there. I also attended the Search Associates Fair, but not as an official attendee. I just kind of hung out near the washrooms. Sometimes I was like near the buffet.
In the bathroom?
No, not in the bathroom.
It's like a
the bathroom.
Pressure. You're starting a new trend.
Here's a mint.
I didn't get to sign up.
A mint?
I didn't get to sign up. So I was like, I was off to the side. I was trying not to be too noticed. But I had clients. I had clients at that job fair that I wanted to support. And so because I was in Toronto, it was a no-brainer. I got to speak with a lot of candidates that were nervous, and I was just giving them good energy. I was giving them good feedback, like, you can do this. Even in the washroom, sometimes I was like, power move, put your hands on your hips, stick your chest out, you got this. And then like ladies were doing it. They were like, yes, I will take any help I need right now.
The superhero
there's a workshop in the bathroom. Have you been to that workshop? Part two now.
JP Mint's in the bathroom giving.
I got a mint out of it too, but she was in there.
They got a pen. No, they got a pen.
It's a workshop or not just a crazy lady.
Wash your hands.
It's crazy.
Wash your hands, please, on your way out.
Who are you? I'm like, I'm JP Mint. It's all right. Just go get your interview done. But that one was in a hotel. However, I believe all the interviews were happening in the big ballroom and also in like the cafe and things that are nearby, like the hotel lobby. I don't think they were taking them up to the hotel rooms anymore. I think that trend, thankfully, has been sort of put to rest, because Greg, you remember like walking in sometimes and like the bed wasn't made.
I have 1,000 stories about that. Yeah.
Like the breakfast tray, half eaten breakfast tray was sitting on a desk. Like it was just weird.
So wait 1 second, Greg. You were going. People were leading you. Let me paint this picture. You were going to an interview, and a person or a group of people were leading you to isolated bedrooms with unmade beds and half-eaten sandwiches, and you interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite stories. I'll just reflect on this for a second. It didn't happen all the time. A couple times it did happen, and they used the recruiters in the past, and I don't know if some still do, I think, but not very many, according to what I've heard about the recent ones. They're held at big hotels, and there's not enough conference centers to have 900 people in them and have private conversations. So what they did was every one of the recruiters would have either a suite, right? Like our school, at the last one I went to for our school was in a hotel suite on the top floor corner, with 3 or 4 rooms and a living room. But a lot of them were just tiny little hotel rooms. So when I was in Bangkok, Thailand, I spent 4 days at a job fair in the ISS in January of, I want to say 2008. And I was looking for a job. I was in Kuwait at the time. I had flown to Bangkok. It was a week-long or 5-day event. And I was doing interviews. And the majority of the time, I sat downstairs in the lobby, not hearing anything. Because at the time, that was a basically a couples fair early in January. And anyway, I went through several interviews, and the one that I remember the most is it was the last day out, and everybody's flying out the last day, including all of the recruiters. They've filled up their dance cards. They've got their recruits. They've got everything done. And I went up for a last day interview, tail between my legs, like, I'll have to take Mongolia. I don't want Mongolia. It's not the right fit for me. But I got an interview with Cambodia for the International School Phnom Penh. And the elementary principal calls me in, and we set up a last-minute interview. She's like, oh, this is great. She's looking at everything I have, and she says, but you need to talk to Rob. I think he's still here. So I go up. I follow this woman upstairs after an hour-and-a-half interview with her. And she goes, I think you'd be perfect for tech, not just elementary. I think you'd be a great teacher, but we need you for tech. But I have to check with Rob. And Rob Mockrish he's a great, great leader. And he was upstairs. So I followed her upstairs to Rob's room. And I go inside and knock on the door, and Rob's putting stuff in a suitcase. And I swear to God, this place looked like it had just had like a bachelor party. There's like cigar butts around and a cigar butt over here and a dirty glass. There's bottles everywhere. There's food everywhere. The bed's not made. He's putting stuff in his suitcase. He's on his way out the door. And she goes, I'd like you to meet Greg. Do you have a little time before your plane? And he sits down with me. Right. I mean, I had a brutal interview with this guy. He was no holds barred. He just talk about transparency. You better be transparent with everything on your resume. And he looks at my resume, and short story is that I only spent 1 year in Cairo. I broke contract. My second school, I broke contract and went to Kuwait. And I was going from Kuwait, hopefully, to his school. So he looks at my resume, turns over the other side, and says, so tell me about Cairo. And I'm like, so tell me about this, tell me about the party. Anyway, I told him what was going on, explained it to him. He's like, fine. And yes, the room was not set up or anything because I said, did you have a party last night? He goes, yep, I'd like to offer you a job. I think you're great for it. I can read you right now. He said, I'm good with people. I know you're the right person for this job. I'd like to offer it to you. I said, okay. I said, did you have a party in here last night? He looks at me and he goes, well, yeah, that was for all of our new recruits. All of our new teachers, we had a party last night. I'm like, oh, I just missed this whole party. But I was literally in this dump of a room that had not been cleaned, and he's leaving. So that's the old way. And I included a little story like that in my book, but I will have to modify and update my book now about the process of getting through a job fair successfully, because a lot of those are happening in more public areas, in small conversations, right? It was a norm back then, and we're talking 2001 all the way up to COVID. It was still standard practice.
2015, 2016. I remember
standard practice.
Hotel rooms.
Go into a hotel room. They put little chairs out. They put 2 chairs outside of each person's door that's interviewing. They'd have an open door policy. Like if you ask them, could I please leave the door open? They would. And you're sitting in there, and they usually have the maid. Like they go down on breakfast and they call room service and say, I need you to clean the room now. And they would. So the conference center knew that this was going on, and that's the style. So they would target all of these people that were interviewing candidates, and they would get their room set up in the morning right at breakfast. So when they came back upstairs, the room is immaculate. There's a desk, you sit on in the double chairs, whatever. And it worked really well. If you got past the fact that you're in a hotel room with a stranger with the door closed, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hannah, have you had that experience? Because we haven't talked much about your experience in job fairs.
Yeah. So when we went to the GRC in Bangkok last year, most of our interviews were either in the lobby or like in the lounge. What's the club lounge or whatever? Yeah. And the ballroom. But they actually, I don't know if it was the GRC or the hotel, but the hotel ended up kicking out the GRC fair like after day one because not kicking them out of the hotel completely, but they needed the ballroom for a different event. And so everyone kind of had to shift out into the lobby. And so no interviews were going on there. But I did have one interview in a hotel room, which was kind of interesting because it was one of those hotel rooms where they've got the like sitting area, and then they've got the door that leads to their hotel room. But still, I thought that it was interesting because the person that I interviewed with, they ended up posting about something that happened at a different job fair later on to them. A comment was made that was a harassing comment, and they had posted about it on their social media. And I was kind of like, I mean, I know it's not the same because they were just doing interviews and we had gotten kicked out, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, interesting that way, you know, about how like they were hosting interviews in the hotel room, and that could kind of open up that can of worms.
It's a scenario that you want to be
Yeah.
put in necessarily. It was accepted for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still is, even in Iowa at UNI,
Yeah.
hosted by the university, they had a convention center, and the hotel right next to the convention center was where they had their hotel room interviews for years. And I haven't been to one for a while, but I have been to six job fairs over my career.
Even though it's at the University of Northern Iowa,
right,
it's not on campus. It's in a hotel.
It's in a different part of the city. But anyway, I'm sorry you got me sidetracked on that one, Darian.
because he had a book. He has a book that's all about job fairs. It's like half of your book of the finding the right fit.
It's interesting you say that in the past tense, JP. That's he had a book.
You had
it's still alive. My mom read it like twice. Seriously,
but
I had one.
You wrote it. It's past tense because you wrote it.
I'm just
and
joking.
Hannah
I know.
Owns it. I think Hannah owns it, right?
I have 2 books. Yep, I have 2 books, and then I'll have a children's book coming out next year. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. Exactly.
Darian, have you ever done the whole job fair thing?
Yes, I had one experience where I went down to, was it South Carolina or North Charlotte, North Carolina? I forget which one. And I didn't get asked to go into the bedroom, so I don't know if I wasn't anyone's type or I didn't get invited to any bedrooms.
That's
regular regular chairs, regular boardrooms. I've been to a job fair. That was the first one I went to, was in Charlotte, and it was neat. It was a lot of people. When I went to the UAE, we were onboarded with I think 1,500 people in one. It was massive.
Wait, onboarded meaning the school itself hired 1,500 people, or the school?
So they hired in Abu Dhabi, the district. So when you hired in Abu Dhabi, they brought everyone over at one time, and then they dispersed you. And so when we came to Abu Dhabi, we went to Abu Dhabi City, and they brought everyone, and they did all the instruction and the onboarding, and getting your Emirates ID and your furniture allowance, all these things. And then they split you up into, are you going to be staying in Abu Dhabi City, or will you be moving to the rural Al Ain? And so we got moved to Al Ain. I think they shipped more families to Al Ain because it was more of a suburb. And then a lot of people stayed in Abu Dhabi City. But that was my only job fair. And it was neat. We just made it into a trip. Like, I took the family. We stayed in the hotel by ourselves. I went to the interview and interviewed and came on back. It was fairly straightforward, I think, because of the job you were interviewing for, which was a public school, a public UAE school. Ministry, they wanted to know things about. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So it was more about the discipline procedures and, are you able to hold attention, and what can you do for engagement, and, how do you overcome language barriers and things of that nature, rather than diving deeply into the curriculum.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, I think job fairs are really firmly back, which is interesting when you think of all the technology we have now with Zoom, to be able, and Google Meets and Teams and things, to be able to meet people in a video call. The face-to-face is definitely back, and an interesting take on, bringing the world into one location. So you have like all these different schools, all these different countries being represented by 1 or 2 people. Typically at each table, there was 1 to 2 people from the school. It might be a head of school. It might be a principal. It might be somebody from HR, kind of assisting and helping with the applications. It was also very cool to see that Mexico had only one at the ISS. They only had 1 school, a school I'd never even heard of, actually, the American School of Durango. And it had a lineup going out the door. Like, everybody wanted to go to Mexico. And I was really excited to see that. I never even got to meet the woman that was there. She was by herself. and she was just bombarded, flooded by candidates wanting to interview with her. So I just saw her round the clock. She was constantly interviewing, and nice to meet people face to face that I have LinkedIn connections with, and then making more LinkedIn connections as well. So it was interesting. For a third trend, Darian, just to get back to your original question, I keep hearing that there is a teacher shortage. You know, the world is having a teacher shortage. A lot of teachers are burning out or wanting to change, you know, out of the classroom and maybe into a consulting or into a coaching model. But despite that, I think that this year was a tough year to be recruiting. I have I don't want to say a lot of clients, but I have some clients that have struggled to get traction, to get interviews. You hear things like, I applied for 50 interviews or 50 schools and I haven't got one interview yet. And that's disheartening. But I also wonder how much AI is changing that, where AI is scanning CVs and cover letters to see if you even make the pile of, yeah, maybe we'll take a look with human eyes. That's what scares me, is that, you know, if AI or applicant tracking system, the ATS system that's looking for keywords in your documents and then are spitting you out, and before even a human looks at your things.
Really?
So that's my take on this year, and it's not over. That's the beauty of a year-long recruitment. It's not over, and a lot of people are still getting interviews and we're still seeing positions open up even in February.
It sounds like that if you can, it's best to make it in person. That's what it sounds like from what you're saying, is that if you can get there.
I definitely recommend it now, having seen it in action and having seen a lot of my clients make the trip. You know, it's an expensive trip sometimes if it's across nation or across the world. You know, it's a hotel, it's flights, it's food out.
But it's also an investment in your career.
But yeah,
it's well worth the investment.
That way.
You're also signing up for a 2-year contract in most cases. So seeing someone face to face can make a difference. To see the body language, to interview with the person, shake their hand or not, go to their hotel room or not, wherever the interview is. I know we keep joking about that, but no matter where it is, you're reading body language and you are interviewing with a human, not a screen. And I think it means a lot. It used to be people would talk about getting hired over the phone, as opposed to seeing them in person. And that was crazy to me. But I've been a long time, and a lot of us are proponents of job fairs and meeting face to face because it's an investment in your own career. Yeah. So
you can hear more of that in Finding the Right Fit.
Great. Thank you, Kent Armour.
There you go. Amazon.com.
The funniest thing, Darian, the funniest thing about that is that Kent always ends the show. If you listen to the earlier podcast, you know, he's in so many episodes where he brings it to a close, and he never gets the name of my book right. He always screws it up, and he adds letters. He's like MB, BA, BSA, BFF.
Gregory F.R. Lemoyne.
I mean,
hey, but let's wrap this up by talking about the next year. So this is the anniversary show. What is the next year going to look like for the International Teacher Podcast? Everyone's dying to know. Greg, Dad Trierman, are you still going to be hosting? Are you going to be still editing this podcast?
I really don't think anybody cares, but yes, I will be.
Of course, they were all wondering. We're all wondering. But
I'm with this podcast until I don't have a heartbeat anymore. Let's put it that way.
So all our diehard fans can put that to rest. That Greg will continue to. I mean, well, first of all, he has to edit this because I don't know how. Hannah, do you know how? Kent, I don't know how to edit this. So
well, the other thing is, I do have another hope, and we're going to have to discuss this and get permission from a lot of people. But I would like to, and my endeavor is to write a book based on stories and advice given by our guests over the years. We have a whole collection of advice, and to put that into print would be exciting, but we would have to have a lot of different permissions. And if you've been on our show before as a guest, you might be getting an email in the next, couple of months about that. So we could get started if people are interested and would like to help out. So that's one of my interests of doing this. We will hopefully continue to do video and audio. We don't hear enough from our listeners. I'd like to hear more from our listeners. Maybe that's on us. We need to reach out more. We need to maybe answer more questions, reach out in different media. But one of my goals for this year. And Instagram. Well, now that we have Hannah, Instagram is going to shoot out, right? It's going to grow.
Sure.
And those are some ideas.
I'll put the responsibility on me. The Facebook group, it's still there. But it's just not as active simply because I dropped the ball on being able to every 2 weeks introduce the next episode. I found it very difficult to keep up with that because of my business. But hopefully, people are still enjoying the camaraderie in that group. There hasn't been many posts recently, so that's something. It is hard to engage with our listeners when we don't know where they are, who they are, if they're not, sending us out emails. But yeah, they can reach us at, what was our email address again, Greg?
They can go back and listen to the episode in the middle of the show.
I think it's internationalteacherpodcast@gmail.com, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I believe even on itpexpats.com, we have a contact me button. Do we not?
It's ITP Expat with no S. That is our website address. Darian found out today that we have a website. So welcome to the website, Darian. I have to dig into you a little bit because you've gotten back on the show. I love having Darian back. That's the other thing I was going to say. And our newest host, having Hannah on here is so much fun. I do have to also mention, and we'll get Jake on here too, but I do miss Kent a lot, which brings me to a promise to our listeners. We're going to redesign the show calendar a little bit for our guests, but also to modify it for our co-hosts. So we might, for future guests on our show, we're going to modify our calendar a little bit, open up the window for interviewing so we can include our guests. Darian is a family guy, and he needs to be in our time zone. He needs to be in the evening, and it hasn't always worked out or not enough. So we're trying to juggle. We have just 3 time zones with the 4 of us here. Soon we will have 4 time zones when I move to Florida next August. And we have Kent, who is now in Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is like 2 time zones behind me.
Correct. So we are dealing with a real finagle here. It's a tough little puzzle if you add in the guest with their time.
It's good to explain. Yeah, it's good to explain to the listeners why sometimes they don't see some of us.
Correct. If they lasted this long on the episode, this has been one hell of an episode. This
was supposed to be a 45-minute episode. It just a monster of an episode.
Let's wrap it up this way, though. Let's say a little 1-minute pitch for each one of us. Something they're going to do between episodes. I don't know. What do you want to do? Round robin of?
Hey, how about like our favorite episode or something? Because this is the anniversary. Think back. Hannah's a fangirl. I'm a fangirl of the show. What are some things that you remember? Darian, have you ever listened to an episode? You could just bring that one episode up if you.
Oh, you called him out.
Well, I'm just wondering because he did already say he's not a fanboy of anything.
He makes episodes. He doesn't listen to them. He's not a podcast listener.
I do need to listen more in-depthly to the roots of the show to kind of get a feel. I think my favorite episode was the one I was on. No, I think I need to go look and really I have an in-depth look for this so I can really give back to the podcast appropriately. But the times that I have been on has been awesome. And I look forward to year 5. I look forward to being up here more. I look forward to the guests and learning as much about teaching and moving and maneuvering internationally as I can.
Yeah, year 6 actually. We've just completed 5, so we're going into year
So we're
6.
off to 6.
Hannah, what's an episode that stands out to you?
There's a lot of good episodes. I would have to say any episode with Greg and Kent and JP on it when they're bantering back and forth, and it's a good chuckle on there. That's a good episode.
Awesome.
I gotta say, I liked the ones right from season 1 and season 2 when Kent joined. I think he joined halfway through season 1, maybe, but where it's just been the 3 of them. And I think Kent was really a proponent for just a host episode like this, where we don't have a guest and we can just banter back and forth. But I always like those August, September ones, Greg, that you guys posted, what did you guys do over the summer and what does it look like starting a new school year? Because it felt like, to me, being out of the school year, it felt like, oh, we're starting a new school year. Like, it was exciting.
Well,
you?
I'm the one doing the episodes here, Darian, you were on number 43. That was back in 2022, episode 43. Darian was on as a guest, and you need to listen to his because all he came to the UAE, he went with a crock pot, and that's all he needed. That's all I'm going to say. That is a great episode. You need to get to know Darian that way. Hannah, you were on 99 and 136. 99 is the greatest baby story across borders you'll ever hear. And JP Mint joined us on episode 63 and episode 50. And episode 50 was
38?
63 and 50 and
I think the first one was 38.
Like I said, 38 and 50. The 50 was the special one because we had just had our 2-year and we were 2 years old, and JP had her business for 1 year, right? Did I get that correct?
And now we're in our 5th year. Like, that's what's unbelievable.
I feel
that was
old.
3 years ago.
So this is my chance as a founder of this, as a creator of this with Matt, is to thank all 3 of you for joining our show as a co-host and adding so much flavor to it, because I miss Kent, I miss Matt, and if we get them on the show, it'll be even better. Right now we have a great show even without any guests, which is not a dig on them. It's more like a thank you to the 3 of you and Kent and Matt. So we never thought it would come this far, and I totally appreciate all of our listeners and all of our fans out there, our fangirls. You can see the trend here is that if you've been on our show, sometimes we reach out and say, hey, we need another co-host. So when we're wowed by somebody and they have a personality, we're like, this person's got to be on the show again. If not, we can get them as a co-host. And that's been a lot of fun. So it's come a long way, and we just have to thank you as co-hosts and thank the guests that listen to us. And even if they're in Australia, binge listening to us, there's a guy that listens to us. I can't remember his name.
Pedro in Melbourne.
Amazing.
And also shout out to our Canuck in Nova Scotia who listens to every episode on his commute. So yeah.
I think that's it.
I think this is it. So I'm calling it your outro.
This has been the wildest episode in a long time from the International Teacher Podcast. I'd like to thank Darian. Thank you, Darian, for being on the show again. You can find him in his apartment, in his house, usually in his daughter's closet when we record. Yes. I think he moved into his own study now. His kids are asleep. I'd like to thank Hannah for joining us. She and her husband, Jake, are in Pakistan. And Hannah, thank you for being on the show. You can find them in Pakistan or playing golf in Rio.
Oh, that expat family on Instagram.
Excuse me, you can find her on That Expat Family on Instagram. And JP Mint, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And as always, JP Mint Consulting for your great consulting needs. And you can see her in Mexico to get your pen.
Yes.
I am
Greg. Got a few left.
And I'm Greg, the single guy, and you can find my books or my new apps or something like that somewhere online. Just Google me or something. And we will see you next episode. So thank you very much. Awesome.
Was it hour 8?
Getting so much better.